case 2358644, the people of the state of Michigan versus Dion Hurd. Mr. Hurd is charged with count 1, assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder or by strangulation, as defendant number 1. Charged with count 2, assault with a dangerous weapon, felonious assault. That for exam today, appearances.
Family Milwaukee P54828 here on behalf of the people.
Your Honor, good afternoon. For the record, Judge Taylor, back for Mr. Hurd, P46505.
And Mr. Hurd, state your full name for the record.
Dion Antonio Willard Hurd.
Thank you. You can have a seat, Mr. Hurd.
Thank you.
Are there any preliminary matters that we need to address before calling your first witness?
No, Your Honor, other than a mutual sequester, with an exception of my OIC. That will not be testifying.
That will be great. Just move this question.
Okay, no objection to the officer in charge?
No objection.
All right, if there's anyone in the courtroom or on Zoom or YouTube Live who may testify or is a witness on this case, now is your time to exit the courtroom. With that, you can call your first witness, Mr. Milwaukee.
People call Gavin Lambert.
I got you. Mr. Lambert. Okay. Go through this door, Mr. Lambert. Step over here to the young lady. Pass this way. So you can spell your first and last name, it's all clear. Same as your first and last. Raise your right hand. Tell us who's another witness. Go over right here, just make sure once you respond, just give this that black right. Okay?
Mr. Steve Robert, you are now, you put your right hand down.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, could you state your name for the record, please?
It's David Lambert.
And what brings you here today?
I'm here today because I'm a victim of a crime.
And did that incident take place on August 7th this year?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And did it occur at 519 East Jefferson, City of Detroit, County of Wayne?
Yes, sir.
What's at that address?
An establishment called Sloppy Crab.
And what is like sloppy crabs?
I believe it's an after hour. It's more like a bar or something like that.
Okay. And what were you doing at that address?
I was celebrating with my friend. It was she just got done with a hair show that happened at Huntington Place, Coke Hall. And that was like the after hour destination for everybody.
And at some point, did you leave the establishment?
No, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
And what happened when, well, why did you leave?
I left to walk my friend back to the car.
Okay. And what occurred?
She ended up telling me what happened in the establishment.
Okay. And when she told you what happened, what did you do?
I ended up going back to the establishment.
Okay. And did you approach anybody there before entering the establishment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you indicate where he's sitting and the article of clothing he may be wearing?
All black. Yeah, okay.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified Mr. Dion Hurd.
Third, like,
Did you have a conversation with Mr. Hurd?
I had a conversation with the other defendant that was with him.
Okay. What was that conversation about?
It was about me. I just wanted to go back in. Cause I just wanted to go back in.
Okay. And were you allowed back in?
No, they said I couldn't come back in because of my friend.
And what occurred next?
Next thing you know, that this defendant, as I was exchanging words with the other defendant, this one sitting in the room right here, ended up bear hugging, picking me up, walking me away from the establishment. And as I was
Alright.
talking,
When he picked you up and carried you away, what occurred next?
it wasn't that, he only kept me at least like 5 feet away, because I was still exchanging words with his co-worker at the time. And this thing up, he slammed me,
When you say slam, what do you mean by it?
like body slam. I fell on my wrist and ended up breaking my wrist.
So you hit the ground?
Yeah, I hit the ground hard.
Okay, what occurred next?
Next thing you know, the other defendant came up and started smacking him.
Okay. And what did Mr. Hurd do?
This defendant, well, at this point, I was trying to defend myself and I ended up trying to get back on my feet. This defendant pulled out a baton and ended up breaking it over the back of my head
So he hit you with a baton.
multiple times.
You don't know how many times?
I don't know how many, but it was multiple, and it ended up breaking on the back of my head.
What occurred next?
Next, the other defendant ended up pulling out a gun and he started pistol whipping.
Okay. And, did anything else occur?
After I got pistol whipped and the baton broke, when the baton broke on my head, I started bleeding real bad. And then everything stopped because I started bagging back. And this thing, the police arrived.
Did you receive medical treatment?
Yes, sir, I went to the hospital that night and passed out.
Okay. Did you recall what the doctor's diagnosis was?
I do have the papers here. They said I had a broken wrist and only had internal bleeding in the back of my head.
Okay.
They said I didn't need stitches, but I still had lumps on my head that took weeks to go down.
Did you ever get stitches?
No, sir.
I have nothing further to this witness at this time.
So I'm gonna ask you some questions on behalf of my client.
Mhm.
Nothing that I ask you is intended to embarrass you or, or anything. We just want to make sure that we have a clear picture of what might have happened, okay?
Yes, sir.
And if you don't understand some of my questions, just ask me repeatedly on my best, okay?
Yes, sir.
We just want the judge to have a clear picture, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you were out on the date in question with, well, this happened at about 3 in the morning, did it not?
Yes, around like 2, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Okay, and so the hair show that you were celebrating probably ended at what time?
The hair show ended around like 11 o'clock, then around like 10 or 11.
Okay, and you described this like crap as after hours.
Yeah,
And so did you go somewhere before the after hours spot?
no,
So what did you do? Did you drink or smoke anything between the end of the hair show and 3 in the morning?
no, sir.
So you're indicating then that you arrived at the Sloppy Crab about, what time did you arrive there versus what time?
I would say that I arrived there around 11:30-ish, 11, because we ended up going there right afterwards.
Right after the hair show?
Yeah,
And you think the hair show ended at what time?
from the 10:30-ish, 10, 11, I'm not sure.
So when you got to the Sloppy Crab, you were with your friend.
Yeah,
Was it multiple people or just you two?
it was just us two. As far as my group, it was just us two.
Okay, so you went there and then are you drinking at the Sloppy Crab?
Yes,
Okay, can you tell us what you might have had to drink or how much between 11 something and 3 in the morning?
I say between that time, me and my friend, we only had about 2 shots of Hennessy.
Only about 2 shots?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so to the extent that you were patted down on the way in
Yes,
by this defendant, right?
yes,
And so he would be in a position to indicate what your state might have appeared to be when you first came, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
You have to say yes or no.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. So at any rate, and by the way, just so in case there's additional records to be obtained, how are you paying for your drinks? Was it credit card or cash?
I wasn't paying for the drinks. My friend was, and I believe she was using card.
Card, okay.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay. And so at any rate, for the record, what's your friend's name?
Miosha, True Love.
The Ocean School.
Yes, sir.
All right, so at any rate, sir, at about 3 in the morning, you were walking her to her car, right?
Yes, sir.
Had you observed her engage in any conduct in there which caused,
No, sir.
well, let me, you gotta let me finish the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it your understanding that she was put out of the club for behaving in a certain manner that was inappropriate and that was complained of by other guests?
Yes, sir. That,
Suggestive dancing and twerking, right?
yes.
And so
Yes, sir.
management said, hey, you gotta get out of here, right, basically,
Yes.
okay? They asked her to leave, correct?
Yes,
And
sir.
then they at some point decided they didn't want you back in because you said one of the defendants said you can't come back in, right?
Because I was with her. Yeah.
Well, whatever the reason, they said, okay, enough, you're not welcome back in, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, you were dealing with, I think you indicated this gentleman, right?
That one, yes, sir.
And that's Mr. Herb, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Herb was dressed in a security uniform, is that fair?
No.
That gave you,
Yes, sir.
that gave you the understanding that he was private security for the Sloppy Crab, right?
Yes, sir.
And he did not strike you initially, he said, hey, you can't come back here, basically, right?
No, sir.
I mean, he didn't allow you back in, right?
Yes, sir. He just reacted. I was still exchanging words with the other defendant. I was still exchanging words with the other defendant. As me and him were talking, he just grabbed me.
And once he grabbed you, by the way, when you say exchange words, I want to try to clear that up for the court if you remember. You remember when you were telling the other quote unquote defendant that you'll kill his ass?
No, sir. I don't remember saying that.
Do you remember what type of language you used to the other person?
I do know that I was angry because I didn't understand why they wouldn't let me back in.
Now, again, we understand now from today, sitting in the courtroom, we're not at 3 in the morning, they're doing their job based upon what management says, right? Is that fair?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna
well,
share a bit on the grounds that Echo's perspective patient, he doesn't have any idea.
I'll rephrase. They were
Just for the record, what's the rest of your objection?
Oh, that's okay. He has no idea what management, what instructions defendants had, or security had.
Yeah.
I'll rephrase. They were advising you, apparently on behalf of the establishment that work, that you weren't welcome back in, correct?
Yes, sir. That's what the other defendant said.
So you can't come back in.
Yes, sir.
And they appear to be employees or authorized people to speak on behalf of that establishment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You didn't take that well, did you? It upset you, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, it upset you so much that you began having a heated exchange with the other defendant, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this defendant said, bro, we can't do that, right?
That's what they said. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you said this defendant, when you say picked you up, you said he was only about 5 feet, like, because he's separating you from the other defendant, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's different, but like I said, I was still talking to the other defendant.
But
And I wasn't showing no sign of no restraints. I got carried away. I let him carry me away.
okay,
But
because
I feel like as me and the other defendant was talking, he just started assaulting.
you were engaged in a heated discussion with the other person.
Yes, sir.
And you were angry.
Yes, sir.
And he said, we can't do that. It's a place of business, right? I said, the defendant heard. So he tried to remove you at least 5 feet to separate you from this other person, correct? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And sir, isn't it accurate that you got violent with my client? You tried to swing on my client, did you, sir?
No, sir.
You said you didn't try to swing on my client.
No, sir.
Okay, so you're indicating that at some point he then, when I say he, excuse me, Mr. Herb, then kind of slammed you. You're saying he did it in an unprovoked fashion,
He
right?
did it in an unprovoked fashion.
Well, let me ask you this, when he initially carried you away peacefully, he wasn't upset with your parent, was he? He just carried you and said, hey, come on.
That's what I believe.
So all of a sudden, his demeanor flipped.
And I
Now
got
he wants to-
slammed.
he wants to slam you.
I got slammed right on the wrist.
Without you trying to punch him.
No.
Okay, all right, so then you begin, when I say you begin, you and Mr. Herb begin to exchange physical, you're struggling with Mr. Herb, right?
It was the other defendant, because when I got slammed, the other defendant ran up and started holding me down, and he started smacking on me.
Okay, let me ask you
And
this.
then he started pulling out a gun. And as he pulled out a gun, he started pistol whipping me, and he got the being on me with the baton.
Okay, now by the way, did you tell the police that he hit you with a baton, or did someone else say this is what he hit you with? Or did you
No.
say?
I have witnesses saying that they did it.
Yeah, wait, you don't
Yeah,
know.
I know he did it.
I wanna say you know. You didn't, you were describing something in direct examination, on direct examination, that you appear to be testifying to acknowledge. You're basically testifying to what somebody told you did, correct?
No.
Did you see him hit you with the gun?
Yes.
Okay, you told the police that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that would be in the statement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at any rate, you're saying that there was no physical interchange after my client allegedly slammed you. There was no physical interchange between the two of you, correct?
No. He was on the side, hitting me with the baton. As me and the other one was struggling with each other. Cause as me and the other one was struggling, like I said, he pulled out a gun. And he was pistol with me and I'm grabbing his arms. Like I said, me and him was struggling with each other. As he pulled out the baton and got the movement on my side of my legs.
Okay.
All on the side of my body and stuff. All
Okay.
that stuff.
So that I'm clear, lastly, you probably answered it, but you did not engage in it, other than the quote unquote body slam, you did not engage in any.
No, sir. I never
You gotta
had.
understand, you gotta understand. You did not engage in any physical altercation with my client, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
You don't, if you did, you don't recall, is that fair?
No, that ain't fair.
No, sir.
I know exactly. I never exchanged. I had no physical exchange with this man.
Okay, all right, and so if there's a video of this event,
Mhm.
if it reflected that one way or the other, you have to rely on your memory or the video.
Both? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can, but one of them, if it shows something different than what you're describing, you'd have to rely on the video if you were actually correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so at some point then, you said that the other defendant came over and he began,
Yes, sir.
he didn't come over immediately and start hitting you with the gun, did he?
No, he came out. He came over immediately, smacking him.
Smacking with an open hand, is that correct?
Mhm.
Because you were engaged in what? Confrontation with his coworker, correct?
And when he slammed me, yes, I did. When I got the struggle, when I got slammed, I'm like, I just rolled over. I'm like, damn, man, what's going on? This thing, you know, the other defendant came to help him restrain me. I wasn't showing no signs of restraint, like I was confused. Like I said, the slam was unprovoked. I didn't know, like I said, everything started so down, so dang.
Okay, so okay, so let me try to take questions from that point on.
Mhm.
And so when my client then, you're not engaged in a physical confrontation with him because you're engaged in a physical struggle with I'll call it the co-defendant, correct?
Yeah, but I said, if anything, I was just holding him. When he held me, I was just like, dang. And then the other one came and he got the smacking on me, then he took over from his position.
And my client he wasn't down there choking you or nothing like that?
No, he wasn't down to choke me or nothing. He just started reacting. When the other defendant got the hit on me and stuff, I just decided to get up at this point because I feel like I was getting assaulted.
Okay, so now my client's not striking you, now you're engaged with the other defendant.
Yes,
And the other defendant, and you are in a physical struggle, is that fair?
physical struggle.
Okay, and whatever you said he had, whether it was a firearm or something to that nature, whatever he had,
Mhm.
did you see it?
Yes, sir. As soon as I got on my feet, I seen him literally go for it, pull it out, and I grabbed his hand.
Okay,
And he, boom, boom.
so let me ask you a question. According to you, you saw a man with a firearm, the man pulls a firearm, and that does not deter you from anything. You actually punched the man while he had the alleged firearm. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Okay, so you're still fighting a man who you say has a firearm.
yes.
And then is it at that point where the baton came out? Is that
Yes,
fair?
sir. Yes, because when the gun got pulled out and me and dude was focused on each other,
Okay,
the other defendant, the crack defendant,
right,
he's already pulled out his baton
okay.
and got the bead on me on the side of my leg and my
Yeah,
arms and stuff.
let's talk about
and my head.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The few blows that he threw, by the way, you can hear fine that night, correct?
Mhm.
And you
Yes, sir.
you can see fine because you talked about a firearm, correct?
Yes, sir.
On that night, you were struck a few times, but with each occasion and prior to each occasion was my client who was dressed in a security uniform saying, stop.
No, sir.
He was not advising you to stop.
No, sir.
When he struck you on the leg or in the waist area, he didn't say stop.
No, sir.
So that's
It was
reflected.
another security guard saying stuff. It was like, I guess he was the supervisor over them.
So you don't, so if a video exists indicating a client saying stop while he's striking you on the body,
Yes, he was striking me in the body as the other dude pistol whipped.
and that didn't stop you. You still fighting the other quote unquote dude.
Yes, 'cause I'm thinking he about trying to shoot.
Okay, so you're fighting this dude. You got another guy saying stop and he's striking you in the body, right?
The other, one dude is saying stop. My friend is saying stop.
Okay,
He beating me with a baton.
okay.
And the other person I'm struggling with, he's beating me with a gun.
When you say beating you, I just want to make sure, if there's a video that indicates there were 5 total blows thrown to you, would you quarrel with that, sir? When I'm speaking of the baton,
No.
you're saying that the baton was used more than 5 times? There's a video,
Yes.
you know that, right?
Yes, sir. I believe it was used more than 5 times.
Okay, and were the majority of those to your body and 2 to your head?
I had about 3 knocks. I had about 3 knocks on my head.
Okay, now you claim you're getting hit with another object as well, but I'm speaking of
Yes.
this baton, my client, here's his example.
Yes,
So the time that he allegedly used, you were struck twice near the head area, correct?
no, at least 3.
Okay, and at least a couple times to the body, correct?
Yes,
What was the only thing that caused you to stop fighting? Was it that last
the
blow?
last blow
To where?
to the back of my head.
And then that de-escalated, you stepped away, there was
Yes,
no more physical confrontation, correct?
yes, because after that, it was just blood going all down my back.
Okay, did you see that?
No, I just felt it. I felt my whole neck. I had waves of blood, waves.
Okay, so that I'm clear, in terms of, because again, you're testifying that there was a situation that was escalating with you and a man who happened to be a co-defendant who had a gun, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you got people telling you to stop, correct?
Yes.
And you got my client.
But truth be told, they was actually telling them to stop.
Okay,
They was telling, because they was beating them.
if he happens to be the one yelling, he's not telling himself.
He wasn't yelling.
Okay.
He was fighting.
To be clear, he is
He is the defendant, Mr. Hurd. So you're saying, you're absolutely crystal clear that my client was not expressing to you a command that says stop.
He was not a peaceful person after that body slam.
Okay, and so once he caused the incident to stop with those few time strikes,
Right.
it stopped, correct?
Yes, the police ended up showing up.
But he didn't pursue you after you separated from the other person. He didn't keep pursuing you and swinging on you, did he? Truthfully,
I don't understand. Question.
once you and the other co-defendant got unlocked, and once you guys stopped fighting, and once you stepped away after that baton blow, there was no more blows for my client, was it?
No, sir.
I mean, that means that's correct?
Yeah, at the end of everything,
Once you separated, he didn't hit you again.
yes, sir, they ended up disappearing off scene when the police got there.
The question I'm asking is, did he strike you again after you finally separated from the guy who you said had?
He did not strike me again after I started bleeding in the back of my head.
Okay, and so you went to the hospital and they didn't give you stitches, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the wrist fracture, by the way, what did they do with the wrist fracture?
They wrapped it up, cast it.
How long you were in that?
I was in the cast for at least a month and a half. I just took it off today, actually.
So you just took it off today?
Yeah,
Okay, so, but the incident that we're speaking of where you suffered the wrist injury came from
Yeah,
a physical
I
confrontation?
believe it came from a body slam because I don't remember anything happening to my wrist, but that moment, because as he slammed me, I caught myself like this.
Which wrist was it?
It was this one,
The right wrist?
the right wrist.
Was that the same wrist that you were punching the other defendant in the face?
No, at that moment, I couldn't feel this wrist no more. This whole arm was burning. I hit him with this one after he got the pistol with me. And I just,
which hand?
the left hand.
You threw a punch with your left hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you weren't unable to use your right hand?
Yeah, I was unable to use my right.
And the hospital says, hey, you don't need anything for you, good blood,
It
but
is,
we're not gonna even put a Band-Aid on it. They sent you out of there, right? Is that fair?
yes, sir.
And
But I would like to see that.
well, there's no question. No disrespect.
Mm.
Thank you.
You need to write?
No, sir.
Any further questions?
Clerk, step down. Yeah, excuse, too late. You'd like to-
No other witnesses. No defense witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, you can begin argument. Mr. Lanford, step up.
Your Honor, people request that the defendant, Mr. John Hurd, be found over on counts 1 and count 2. It is even clear by the questioning, cross-examination of his counsel, that the defendant struck the complainant on the head. Excessive force was clearly used. The defendant was not armed. There were 2 of them and 1 of him. And I will point out that self-defense is an affirmative defense and something that creates a question of fact. Given the fact that the defendant attacked the complainant with a baton as a weapon, striking him on the head 2 to 3 times, we feel people have met their burden of probable cause. That's
I object finding certainly as it relates to count 1 in terms of the intent to break my harm less than murder. Judge, that is a significant charge, and under the circumstances of this case, I would indicate it cannot be sustained even by a standard of probable cause. Judge, but also there's a statute that the court can take commission notice of, it's MCL 338.1069. It addresses the legislature specifically indicated what private security officers are permitted to carry and therefore use. And they exempted a number of weapons, firearms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at parent 5, it says, a licensee may authorize his or her employees to carry any commercially available tactical baton. And so to the extent that my client was authorized to carry that quote unquote tactical baton, to the extent that the legislature contemplated that, the only reason we're saying you can carry it is because you're working in a difficult situation in many cases, and therefore you're allowed to quote unquote use this. You're not carrying it for show. And so, Judge, when you have unruly patrons who refuse the rules of the establishment, who then, although wasn't necessarily admitted here today, who then want to create a scene to be to regain entry into an establishment they were rejected from. And then there's a confrontation, Judge, there's a confrontation between my client initially just removing him 5 feet in a peaceable manner, as he indicated. But thereafter, Judge, there was a further confrontation with my client, who then, once on the ground with him, didn't take any aggressive action towards him. But yet, the other defendant who came on was attempting to apparently break that up, and then they start fighting. My client, after seeing that, according to the testimony, then begins to strike him with a quote unquote tactical baton. Tactical baton, he indicates, was used in the body, and that didn't stop him. He's engaged in this escalating situation with someone he claims has a firearm. And my client is right there witnessing this confrontation and this attack, who then is asking him to stop, and who then strikes him with the baton. And then once they're separated, there is no further aggressive action taken, Judge. Just for this man at 3 a.m. to do what he could under these circumstances, to conduct his duties in the manner that he could under these circumstances, with someone who doesn't even care that somebody has a gun, allegedly, he's still fighting and punching. Judge, I think that my client's actions, at least in relationship to the statute, relationship to the facts that have been described, certainly should be excused. But more importantly, Judge, that count 1 is just, it's phenomenal.
Your Honor, again, just because you're allowed to carry a weapon doesn't mean you get to use that weapon freely. I believe self-defense is limited to what's necessary to protect yourself. It's clear that well, in this case, Mr. Hurd used way too much force. One guy, he's beating him on the head with time, to the point that time actually breaks. And, you know, there really wasn't an intent, to do great bodily harm. There are multiple ways, with less using not even weapons necessarily, but, to stop what was going on. And then people's position that, the use of the weapons was totally unnecessary, and we asked for money.
I don't think there's a question here that Mr. Byrd was allowed to carry a weapon. I think we all agree that he was allowed to carry it at the time. And there are instances where people get unruly and he may have to use that as part of his job. People have to show a probable cause standard for count one. First, that the defendant tries to physically injure another person. I have testimony from Mr. Lambert that he was body slammed by Mr. Hurd. After being asked to come back into the location, after his friend was not allowed back in, that he was bear hugged and then about 5 feet, foot about 5 feet from wherever he was initially standing, and then body slammed. And some altercation or word between the other individual who was working there. And that then Mr. Hurd body slammed and then started hitting Mr. Lambert with the baton to the point where it was broken over the back of his head. Somewhere in there, he was also slapped in the face by the other employee who he refers to as the other defendant, and also pistol whipped by that. That has nothing to do with Mr. Hurd. I don't think this is not an aiding and abetting case here. Second, that at the time of the assault, the defendant had the ability to cause an injury, or at least believe that he had the ability. So once again, he had the ability to cause injury, that being Mr. Hurd at the time, and actually did cause injury. There were bumps on the back of his head, although he did not get stitches. He said his head was bleeding, he could feel it dripping. He also received a broken wrist from being body slammed onto the ground and some internal bleeding, as he stated. The third count, people have to show that the defendant intended to cause great bodily harm. Actual injury is not necessary, but if there was injury, you may consider it. You can consider it as evidence in deciding whether the defendant intended to cause great bodily harm. Great bodily harm means any physical injury that could seriously harm the health or function of the body. So here, beating someone in the back of the head with a baton could seriously harm his health, damage his head, as well as a broken wrist could harm function of his wrist and hand. Blood dripping could have been a serious injury. Question here is whether or not the defendant intended to cause that great bodily harm. And I would believe that would be a question of fact, the trier of fact in this juncture. And based off, I only have testimony from Mr. Lambert, and I don't think that he, what he testified to, that he had aggressive nature here that it would cause self-defense. Or be dismissed based on self-defense at this juncture. So, Mr. Hurd, I'm going to bind you over to Third Circuit Court. You are not in custody, so your arraignment on the information date will be 2 weeks from today. That'll be October 5th at 9:00 a.m. And depending on which judge you get, it may be in person or on Zoom. And the bond needs to be addressed.
No. I'm sorry, I thought
No, just anybody.
you.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
we're off the record.
You
Wait outside, sir.
are.
Is the other